This is the Marvel Legends series Secret Wars Spider-Man, or the Symbiote Spider-Man, as he appeared after the whole Secret Wars finished and wrapped up and went back to Earth. And a symbiote had latched onto him and took on a new costume. It was a way for Marvel to just reinvent the character back in the day. It looks great. It brings so much nostalgia. This is a great looking figure. I picked up this figure from Hobby Corner, and they have really stepped up their game, their shipping game. As you can see, the card on this particular figure came in pristine, near mint condition. Kudos to the shipping team at Hobby Corner. And here is Peter Parker, Spider-Man, in his new black suit or black costume, coming after the events of the very first Secret Wars in the 80s from Marvel Comics. And I think I mentioned this and in previous reviews, and as well as in this review, that I did have the old Mattel figure, and I tried to look for it before filming this, and I just couldn't find it. I know I lost the first one I had, then I repurchased it when I was in high school, and for some reason my old ex-girlfriend back in college, I think I gave it to her. It was such a weird thing to do. I gave her a bunch of stuff for some it was a lot of drama back then in college, but I think she still has it in her old house, and I think it's probably lost or whatever. Anyway, I asked my daughter to look for it, my other daughter from my ex-girlfriend, and she said she didn't notice anything. So it's a shame, because it was really a nice figure. It had 5 points of articulation, but the legs and the arms were posed. So if you know what I'm talking about, you probably know how old I am, and we're probably the same age. But anyway, this figure looks great. It uses a lot of new parts, a lot of pinless joints, and it takes I think it uses previously released pieces and parts from previous Spider-Man Marvel Legends figures that have been released by Hasbro, and it's a conglomeration or an amalgamation of pieces here and there. Correct me if I'm wrong, because the mold feels very familiar and it feels new at the same time. I think it turned out great. Let's take a closer look at the details of this new Marvel Legends Secret Wars Spider-Man. Head to toe, the figure stands at about 15.5 centimeters tall, or about 6 1/4 inches tall. Now, believe it or not, this is my only Marvel Legends figure left in my collection. I'm just trying to get out of the Marvel Legends and Black Series and trying to move on to the Japanese import SH Figuarts. But this had a very nostalgic and sentimental value for me, because like I said earlier, I had it when I was a kid, so I had to pick it up. So here he is with other 1/12 scale figures from Hasbro. We've got the G.I. Joe Classified Series Snake Eyes, the very first release. And then we have the 40th anniversary of the Return of the Jedi, the retro-carded Black Series Return of the Jedi, Jedi Knight, Luke Skywalker. So easy, about good scale. I'm glad they didn't use a small mold. It's sort of like a medium-sized mold, not too big, not too small. And just like the old Mattel figure and old Secret Wars figures, this figure comes with a shield. No idea why he had a shield back then. And the shield has a peg, which doesn't peg into anywhere. It does have a clip, which will allow you to clip it on his wrist. That was the gimmick of the old Mattel toy, and Hasbro just decided to carry it over for the new 6-inch Marvel Legends version. And the gimmick was you could replace the shield's contents. You open up the shield, and the lenticular plate, you'd take it off, and you'd put back another one, or in this case, there's like the Secret Wars logo. I can't imagine why you would put that. You don't really need to replace the lenticular sticker here, but they just added that feature just to align it with how it was back in the day, back in the 80s. But it's a cool looking lenticular gimmick. Peter Parker's face, and you get Spider-Man's masked face. Yep. It's kind of lame it's a very lame gimmick in today's standards, but when you were a kid back in the 80s, oh wow, this was everything. Okay, he also comes with an alternate head sculpt, a more classic looking one. This is a little bit more 90s looking, more modern head sculpt, or this one could be like a squinting version. I'd like to think it's a classic version compared to this one. This one's just during the Todd McFarlane era, big-eyed Spider-Man. So yeah, I don't think this was necessary though. I mean, a lot of hardcore collectors would want it, but for me, for the casual collector, I would have actually preferred just an unmasked Peter Parker head sculpt. That would really be good. Or like a half symbiote, half covered face. The symbiote's like morphing over his face. That would have been, I think, a better head sculpt than this. This was actually just useless. He also comes with extra pairs of hands. He's got the thwip hands, and he's got the wall crawling hands. These are actually pretty good. I love these. I'll post it later. The fists are attached in the box with him. The thwipping hands, somebody had mentioned, I honestly thought this was unnecessary, because when I read up on the comic books, the webbing would come from here, because a symbiote would replicate his webbing like that, and he would just launch the webbing like this. But there was a time, artists had drawn him, that he would still thwip. He would still have his cartridges and his web fluid and all that. He would still use them together and combine them with the symbiote webbing like over for the new suit. So I guess this is accurate in a sense. I don't think it's necessary though. If they had done away with this and given us some web effect, like for him to pose him swinging and all that, I think that would have been better. But you know, it's a lot of nitpicking here and there. Anyway, let's talk about paint apps. Hasbro has been historically notorious for mucking up their white paint apps, and for some weird reason, this one has immaculate paint apps. The white though doesn't perfectly match though. The one in the abdomen and the one on the chest. This one's a little bit lighter. This one's a little bit bluish. So they could, you know, I'm not complaining too much because I think they did a perfect job with the paint apps. Yeah, some splotches here and there, but the lines, the neatness, just how perfect, and no smudging on the lines, I'll take it. I mean, I'm not going to complain too much. Eyes are painted nicely, same with this other one, and that's about it. Everything is molded in black plastic. As far as articulation goes, the neck is on a ball joint on a hinge, an old neck joint. It's got some butterfly shoulders. Shoulders go in and out, forward and backward 360 on ratchets. Bicep swivel, pinless double hinged elbows. Wrists go in and out and swivel. Ball jointed upper torso in lieu of a waist swivel. He's got that ab crunch. It's on a ratchet. Not drop down though, but just basic barbell ball jointed hips. Legs can kick up, back, a little bit hindered because of the sculpting of his glutes. Do the splits, about 90, 110 degrees. Thigh swivel, pinless double hinge knee joints. It's got a calf swivel or a boot cut. Ankles go up and down on ratchets and have the rocker tilt on ratchets as well. No toe articulation. I'm shocked they didn't put that. Seeing that this is a classic figure, very few accessories except for this shield. It's a little bit of budget would have been nice. Put a hinge there for the toes, but it's all right. So somebody let me know in the comment section which mold they're using for this one. It's a very simplistic figure. It is what it is. I mean, this is what it looks like in the comic books. When he came back from the Secret Wars, the symbiote had attached him, and yeah, the figure does what it needs to do. Probably my biggest gripe with this figure is it just feels like it's another Spider-Man figure. What I mean is, it doesn't bring much to the table. I mean, if you've already had several symbiote Spider-Man figures in the past, I can't imagine why anyone would just go out and just actively look and hunt this thing down. Unless you're a big Secret Wars fan, big Spider-Man fan, you gotta have everybody, you gotta have the Secret Wars, sure. But if you just need a couple, one or two black-suited symbiote Spider-Man on your shelf, there's really no need to rush and get this figure. But for me, it was actually sold a bunch of my figures, almost all my figures, because I know Hasbro is going to keep updating their figures. This is a nice starting point. This is a nice symbiote black-suited Spider-Man to begin a Spider-Man collection for any new collector that's out there looking to collect Marvel Legends. But yeah, having said that, it just feels like another regular, ordinary black-suited Spider-Man figure, and I wish they could have done something to just spice up this figure. Just maybe mold it in super high gloss black finish, or painted with super high gloss black finish. That would have cost more. They probably blew the budget on the shield, but that would have given this thing something that's worth collecting. I mean, it's like putting chrome on Transformers, or putting a metallic finish on your Transformers, something like that. I wish they could have made the black like super shiny, almost chrome-like, and that would have made this one a stellar figure. But I'm not complaining. It's not a horrible figure. I'm glad to have this figure again. Am I gonna keep it? I don't know. You guys tell me, should I keep this one? Because it's the only Marvel Legends figure in my collection. The figure is obviously gonna get a 10 out of 10. Very pleased with it. Could have been an 11 had they given us more, had it brought more to the table. But as it is, it's a terrific looking figure. Don't pay too much for it. I hear a lot of online stores have restocked this figure. I saw it on Amazon. No free shipping though to the Philippines. There's some shipping fee required, but it's back at retail price, just under $26, $27. So I think it's a good deal if you can get it for that amount. $25 to $27, I think, is a fair price for this one. Don't pay more than $35 or $38, I think. So yeah, let me know in the comment section what you guys think of this Marvel Legends Secret Wars retro carded black suited symbiote Peter Parker as Spider-Man in the aftermath of the 1980s Secret Wars. Hit that notification bell so you never miss out on any of my latest video reviews. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe. Thanks for watching.